Dalgleish, investigating Lorimer's murder, is looking for two missing pieces of evidence. Paul Middlemas's laboratory coat, which was blood-stained from his quarrel with Lorimer, and pages torn from Lorimer's notebook. Lorimer's assistant, Clifford Bradley, has panicked, but not yet confessed.
Hey, you, what do you think you're doing? My God, where is he?
Take it easy.
Look, let me through.
Take it easy.
He's up there, isn't he? Let me through.
Take it easy.
It's all right, I'm here. Well, what is it, Mr. Bradley?
You think I did it, don't you?
I think you did what?
They've told you. Oh, yes, they all think I did it.
The murdered man's father has told Dalgleish of a phone call from a woman, mentioning the number 1840.
Oh, well, she certainly wasn't from the lab, anyway.
How did the voice sound?
Excited. It was conspiratorial. It was just a secret. That's what she sounded like. Full of a secret.
Evening. Until suicide?
Yes, local lad left us a note. He was the husband of the girl we found here. Mm-hmm. Oh, he went home that night, but he sneaked out again later, picked her up outside the disco and drove her up here.
I see.
Dumped the body. Saw young Roy coming to look for her. Saw his chance of pinning it on Roy. Bit messy in there. He was a butcher's assistant.
John, speak to Dr. Kerrison, will you? Sir. Inspector Doyle looks a bit bothered.
Oh, well, as you know from before, it was his case originally. Nothing moved on it till now. Not his fault, exactly. Combination of things.
Wouldn't go in there if I were you. Might put you off your dinner. All rather bloody for Gentleman Johnny.
Do you have something on your mind, Inspector?
Dragged his heels, has he?
Cannabis, for instance?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just what's on my mind.
I'll straighten him out for you.
No need. Sergeant Reynolds is more than adequate.
You don't want Doyle anymore?
No. Now I've told you, I'll tell him.
Oh, all good.
No.
Well, you're the governor.
Inspector Doyle, could I have a word, please?
Fine.
In private? I no longer need you on this case.
Oh. Okay. What do I care?
That's why you're no longer required.
He killed his wife a couple of months ago. She was messing around with other boys. Her body was found here in the wreck of a Morris 1000.
Good evening, Dr. Kerrison.
Oh, hello. Yes, I was just saying, I suppose this is the end of what's become known as the Clunch Pit case.
Yes, but this time it was suicide, man, look.
Yes. Yes, it's very sad, predictable, a sort of justice, self-administered. No mystery at all. But your concern isn't really here, is it?
No. Well, only partially. I did come up here when the girl was killed.
Well, what about the PM report, sir?
Oh, yes. Dr. Kerrison, when can we expect the post-mortem report on Dr. Lorimer?
Haven't you got it yet? Dr. Blaine Thompson was doing it this afternoon.
Not you?
No, we operate according to theatre surgeon availability. It was his turn this afternoon.
Oh, yes, of course. By the way, I understand your daughter had a row with Dr. Lorimer the other day. I mean, can you tell us about it?
Yes, she was very upset. Nell and William, he's my young son, were waiting for me in the reception at Hoggart's. I was giving this lecture, which had got rather protracted. It seems that Lorimer took exception to the presence of the children there. He may have been unnecessarily harsh, but Nell's a sensitive child who can exaggerate.
Yes. Did you... I mean, did you talk to Dr. Lorimer?
No, I didn't say anything to anyone. I didn't want to make too much of it. It may have been prudence or cowardice. I don't know.
Because, indeed, you have to work with him every day.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I don't see the row with Nell as a motive for murder.
Isn't it strange how everyone assumes motive to be so important nowadays? What we need is hard evidence.
Well, I must be going.
Sir?
Good evening, Dr. Kerrison.
Yes, goodbye.
What is it, John?
It's Doyle and those cannabis exhibits. On a recent case, Doyle was responsible for the destruction of them. Now, I'll have to check some facts back at the lab.
You've not been acting on one of your hunches again?
Sir, you should have seen the look on his face.
You know, I don't approve of that sort of approach, John. It's inaccurate, naive, and can be bloody damaging. On the other hand, how did he react?
Why didn't you mention this at your first interview? Or perhaps in your statement?
I was too frightened to remember.
What of?
You are rather frightening, sir.
It is. And you say you overheard Dr. Lorimer and Miss Foley quarrelling about money?
And a will, sir. At least he was. And he was saying awful things about Miss Mawson.
I see.
I suppose I was rather ashamed, too, because I shouldn't have been listening. And I got sort of stuck.
Brown envelope, sir. Oh, yes. You mentioned an envelope in your statement, didn't you?
Well, it came by the second post. It was one of those long brown envelopes, addressed to Dr. Lorimer in funny capitals.
Well, as if it might be an anonymous letter.
Is that how they come?
Usually. Or else with letters cut out of newspapers stuck together.
Sort of poison pen?
Perhaps. And you personally gave this to Dr. Lorimer?
Yes, just after he got cross with the children.
That's rather interesting. You see, it hasn't turned up. We haven't found it anywhere.
Perhaps he threw it away if it was nasty.
Yes, it would be a natural reaction, wouldn't it?
Everything all right?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Primrose.
All right.
Now, is there anything else you remember?
No, I don't think so.
You're no longer frightened, are you?
No, I'm not.
Tell me, Dr. Lorimer liked you, didn't he? And you liked him. Do you think anyone could have misunderstood his interest in you? Perhaps even been jealous?
Jealous? 'Cause he encouraged me to take my A-level biology? No. Besides, he was old. No, that's just silly.
Fine. Now, murder investigation is always unpleasant. It sometimes seems easier not to get involved, but that's impossible.
I know that now.
You sure? You must trust me. Will you do that?
Reynolds. Oh, we're all done, sir. No, there's no sign of that missing white coat. No, nor that exhibit number. But, sir, we do have a trace on the tyres of the car that was parked in the drive. I did try to catch you at the clunch pit, but you just left. Well, it was one of the tyres. It was an Italian retread job, and it was bought from Bell's Garage by Tom Doyle.
Thanks, Sergeant Reynolds.
My sister's been waiting for you for some time. Hey, she got back just after 4. Would you like a drink?
I'm sure we both like to accept. I know I would, but no, first day's always long.
Yes, of course. Well, now, Domenica, this is Detective Chief Superintendent Dalglish.
How do you do?
And Inspector...
Massingham.
Massingham. My sister.
I rushed back from London only to find I wasn't needed.
Yes, well, we have been reasonably busy.
You don't mind if I go on working? I've got a deadline for these illustrations. A case of Kipling's Unforgiving Minute.
Well, I imagine you don't need me.
Perhaps a few words later.
By all means. Any time.
What are you illustrating?
George Crabbe, the 18th century poet.
She knew that mothers grieved and widows wept, and she was sorry, said her prayers and slept.
Well, in this case, happily, there is no mother to grieve, nor widow to weep. And I gave up saying my prayers when I was 9. Or were you only trying to prove that you could quote Crabbe?
Please don't patronize me, Miss Howarth. And I do require your full attention. Now, there were a number of letters addressed to you in Dr. Lorimer's study. Did you receive any?
Obviously not, if he hadn't posted them.
I said any, not that we found. We could, of course, check with the post office.
Yes, some. I returned them to him. It's extraordinary how unattractive misery is.
Why did you break off the affair?
No real reason. I get bored easily. Oh, let's say he became too possessive. There wasn't anyone else, if that's what you meant.
I didn't. Was he sexually adequate?
No, Superintendent. I can make anyone adequate.
Where did you used to meet in order to gratify each other?
Is that relevant?
Well, it could be to those that knew you were lovers.
No one knew. I don't care to have my private affairs giggled over in the women's loo at Hoggart's.
So, no one knew about the affair except you and your brother.
I hope you aren't going to ask if he approved.
I assume he didn't.
Why?
A difficult new appointment, his half-sister having an affair with a man who'd been passed over for the directorship. Now, in your brother's shoes, I wouldn't have welcomed such a complication.
You want Max. And perhaps you lack his confidence.
Did you bring Dr. Lorimer here?
If I disliked my brother, that might have given the thing extra edge. As I don't, it would have been in poor taste. No, Dr. Lorimer and I both had cars. His was roomy enough.
That's something I associate with adolescence.
Look, I'm trying to be truthful. I hate death and waste and violence. Who doesn't? But I'm not grieving. Nor do I feel responsible, because I'm not. Even if he killed himself, I shouldn't feel it was my fault. As it is, I don't believe his death had anything to do with me. He might, I suppose, have felt like murdering me. I never had the slightest motive for murdering him.
You're shielding someone. Perhaps your brother.
Have you run out of questions, Superintendent?
You're lying about the car.
Can you account for your movements in London?
Yes.
Including any phone calls you made?
I didn't phone Mrs. Bidwell, if that's what you mean.
Does the number 1840 mean anything to you?
In what context?
Said yes one.
Sounds like the date of something. I don't know what. Did anything happen in 1840?
No, a bit of a non-vintage year, really.
Thank you, John. That's all for the present. Good night, Miss Howard.
Goodbye.
But there was an official complaint about the Tewkesbury case, wasn't there?
Yes, I backed Lorimer.
Who instigated the complaint? Inspector Doyle?
Who else? He can even bully Mercer on occasion.
Do you think he had a personal grudge against Lorimer?
From what I've seen of that man, he's got a personal grudge against just about everyone.
Yes. Why did you choose not to tell me about your sister's affair?
I didn't think that was relevant.
Really? You went to the village show last night. What time did you leave?
The first interval, about 9 o'clock.
Why?
I didn't think much of it.
What did you do then?
Sat on a tombstone for a breath of fresh air.
Of course, we only have your word for it.
The truth can be awkward.
Or elusive.
Now, start again. Think more clearly. So what do I know? Facts. Man running down the drive. Front door was locked. There are 3 locks. Middlemas's coat's missing. It's got brass buttons, and Lorimer's blood from the nosebleed was on it. Oh, and a man has vomited in the basin, yes. So, what would I do? I've killed a man. I panic. I feel sick. I go into the washroom. And I vomit in the basin. I try to clean it out, and then what would I do? Well, I get out the window. Frightened I might tear my clothes on the brickwork, I put on Middlemass's coat to protect them. I get down the drain pipe. No, there's something wrong. It's illogical. I panicked. If I panicked, I wouldn't be so cool as to go downstairs and lock the front door. Well, perhaps I wasn't alone. It was here. This was where she and Lorimer used to meet. That's why I had the key in his desk. But she lied about it. What's so important about this place that she had to keep it a secret?
What are you going to tell him?
What I told you.
Oh.
You believed me, didn't you? It was true, you know.
Yes, and I helped you, didn't I?
Yes. But now you're not sure anymore.
Go turn the kettle off.
Sir? Sir? John? Oh, just through, sir. The Met Lab reports.
Lorimer's blood on the mallet, no fingerprints, and Bradley's vomit in the basin.
Yes, sir.
Just as we thought.
Yes. Good. Well, do we go straight to Bradley's house or pick him up at the lab? Should have left for work by now.
Their first job today is Stella Mawson.
Sorry, sir?
And then Inspector Doyle.
But this is our first real piece of evidence, sir. The food content proves that Bradley was in the laboratory at or around the time that Lorimer was killed.
Maybe, yes. Oh, by the way, this is where Lorimer and Miss Howard used to meet.
I'm sorry, sir, but I really must protest. This is our first real piece of evidence. It points squarely at Bradley.
John.
Bradley's very frightened. He's got a wife and a young child. He's not likely to run away, is he? We just give him a little time to worry. Okay?
Sir.
Oh, John.
The key fitted. I just wonder where Lorimer got it from and how many others there are.
Right, Stella Mawson must be awake by now. You've got the address, have you?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Miss Foley.
I'm just off to Hogwarts, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, I must ask you to ring Dr. Harth and say you'll be late. Is Miss Mawson in?
Yes, but she's just started work.
Good, I need to speak to both of you.
But her mornings are sacred. Surely as a right for yourself.
Look, I'm sorry, sir. No, there's still no comment we can make. Sorry. Look, come on, we haven't got all day. You have to put your initial there. Hoggett. Ah, about time. Oh, yes, yeah, business as usual. Oh, very nearly, Mrs. Bradley. Yes, I think she is. Just a minute.
I'm sorry I'm late, Inspector Blakelock.
It's because you're an heiress now. Oh, Miss Easterbrook, Mrs. Bradley, like a word. You're through now.
How do you know?
All over the village, isn't it? I mean, news like that travels very fast indeed. Well, well, well.
Oh, how awful. It was kind of him, but I wish he hadn't.
£5,000 is still a lot of money, even today.
It wasn't 5, it was just £1,000.
It's typical. Rumour always exaggerates.
I suppose you want me to give Angela an alibi. Help the police with their inquiries. Though that phrase has acquired certain overtones recently, hasn't it?
We're all fallible.
Yes, as soon as I can, Dr. Howarth.
Why did you go upstairs to Dr. Lorimer's study yesterday?
I didn't. I went up to the bathroom to see if there was anything to clean the downstairs sink with. There wasn't.
What did you find in the desk?
I told you I didn't go into the study.
Well, that wasn't his father's impression.
You believe a confused old man?
Miss Mawson, if you were writing one of your books, you'd only let someone say that if they were stupid or
Old people
unapparent.
frequently get the wrong impression. I didn't go into the study.
Miss Foley, I believe you now know the contents of your cousin's new will.
You've been to Edwin's solicitor?
Yes, he called us.
But that's betraying a confidence.
Murder destroys every confidence. By your own statement, you weren't particularly fond of your cousin, so shall we get on without finer feelings? You now receive nothing from the will. But I understand Dr. Lorimer warned you that he would alter it. Only the day before yesterday. The day, in fact, that he was killed.
How do you know that?
You and he were overheard quarrelling. Of course, if the old will had stood... Now, is that why you took a look at it?
You still don't believe I didn't go into Edwin's study?
Who said it was in the study? I believe you did go in there. But a court wouldn't accept it, so it does become, for the moment, beside the point.
All right. I did go in.
What for?
To look at the will. As you said. Angela told me about the row, and I just wanted to make sure she'd still benefit. She deserves to, God knows. Also, we assumed he wouldn't have had time to alter it. We realized it would seem to give her a motive for murdering Edwin. I apologize for lying.
Thank you. Yeah?
Please.
Now, I need to know where you both were between 8 and 10 on the night Dr. Lorimer was killed.
Miss Pridmore?
Sir?
Miss Foley's not in yet. She's, helping the police. So I'd like you...
I can't do shorthand like Miss Foley, sir.
That's all right, I don't need shorthand. Come along. The police are going through all our registration files. They'll be needing some more soon, so you can be a help there. They've got as far as 1976 and 75. So you'd better get out the 74 series and any others they may need.
Why's that, sir?
I don't know, they're not saying. It seems they're interested in a particular exhibit, 1840. That's the magic number.
I'm sorry I was late.
Oh, that's all right. We're all in a turmoil at the moment. I hear Dr. Lorimer left you a sum of money.
Well, just for books and apparatus, sir.
No need to call me sir. Dr. House will do. You liked him then, did you?
Yes. Yes, I did.
It's odd. I mean that I wouldn't have thought he was the kind who, forgive me, appealed to women.
Wasn't like that, sir. Dr. Howarth.
Wasn't like what?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think he was trying...
To seduce you?
No. Well, he couldn't, could he? Not here in the lab. And I never saw him anywhere else. And if you'd known anything about him at all, you wouldn't talk like that.
No, I expect you're right. I never really knew him at all. All right.
Mr. Bradley upstairs?
No, Mr. Bradley hasn't come in.
Oh? Well, did he phone to say why?
No, sir. His wife rang to speak to Miss Easterbrook. Now, she's upstairs if you'd like me to get on the phone.
Thank you.
Would you like to sit down?
Thank you.
Inspector Massingham will conduct the interview.
It's about the vomit, isn't it?
In your previous account of your movements the night before last.
I didn't tell you everything, did I?
No, you left out quite a lot, actually.
But perhaps Mrs. Bradley would like to put the baby in the other room.
No.
I think you should.
I did see Sue's mother to the bus after supper, and I did come right back here.
And then you went out again, to the lab.
Yes.
I told him not to.
You're afraid your husband might...
Yes, he was in an awful state. That report of his
Sue,
work.
let me tell it.
No, let me tell it. You went to see Lorimer. You knew he was working late.
Yes, but I only wanted to protest about the annual report.
You were talking. He turned away. There was a mallet. You didn't mean to kill him.
No, look, it wasn't like that. That's why I didn't want to tell you I was there.
John, I'd like to ask a question, please.
Sir.
Mr. Bradley, why didn't you lie to us about what you had for supper? I mean, if you had, we wouldn't be here now, at least not yet.
Because my mother ate with us.
Oh, I see. You discussed this with your wife?
Yes, I wanted to lie, of course, but Sue pointed out we couldn't possibly tell her mother to lie too.
I see, but you would have lied.
Yes.
Just as you were prepared to phone Mrs. Bidwell so that your husband could get to the wash basin first and clean it, so she wouldn't notice the vomit.
Yes. That makes me an accomplice, doesn't it?
Yes. Thank you, John.
I must caution you both. You're not obliged to say anything. But anything you do say will be taken down and maybe given in evidence.
No, please, look. Lorimer let me in when I rang the bell. He said he could give me 5 minutes. We went up to the lab and well, it was him who attacked me. I don't mean physically, verbally. He said I was hopeless, useless. It was like a river of hate pouring out of him. I've never seen anyone so angry, and well, I broke down, cried. He turned away, and I went to the washroom. That's when I was sick in the basin.
You've left out the mallet and the blow. You were arguing, he turned away. You struck him from behind.
No, look...
Then you were sick at what you had done, yes?
I'm telling you the truth. I swear to you, I didn't touch the mallet.
Go on.
Well, I swelled my face in the basin, and I went and sat on one of the lavatory seats and tried to pull myself together.
How long were you there?
10 minutes. I don't know for sure. Look, I knew I could never change his opinion of me. Knew I'd have to find another job. And that'd be impossible. That's when I started to hate him. Really hate him. Oh, yes. I'd go and tell him face to face.
And that's when Cliff found him dead. He told me.
Mrs. Bradley.
Sue's right.
If you were innocent, why didn't you call for help?
I was too frightened.
You've just said you pulled yourself together.
Yes, I know, but the shock of seeing him lying there...
When Dr. Lorimer first answered the door to you, did he say anything about expecting a visitor? Because if you're telling the truth, someone else must have come to kill Lorimer.
Yes.
Well, just answer the question. Did Lorimer expect a visitor?
Well, no, he wasn't.
How did he seem when you answered the door?
Well, as usual, he was carrying his notebook.
You sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure.
Did he answer the door promptly?
Yes, almost at once.
So he was already downstairs. Why?
You've just seen the body. What next?
I ran down the stairs. The front door wasn't double locked. I raced down the drive because there was a bus at the stop, but it had drawn away before I reached the gate. Just as I got into the road outside, a car turned into the drive. Then I made myself walk slowly home.
Cliff told me everything. We decided to leave out his going back to the lab. It was my idea to phone Mrs. Bidwell. We knew she never answered the phone. But Cliff hadn't realised that old Mr. Lorimer wasn't going into hospital after all, so it all went wrong. Mr. Lorimer phoned Inspector Blakelock. But then you know all this, don't you?
Yes, but now it all starts to make sense.
This car that turned up, what make?
Cortina.
What colour?
Lightish colour.
Doyle.
What happens to me now?
We should drive you to the police station at Guy's Marsh, where you'll make a formal statement.
And me?
Oh, yes, you too, Mrs. Bradley. John?
You do believe us, don't you? You must believe us.
Well, the central doubt still remains. Like you, we only have your husband's word for it.
Who's hit the panic button? Shut the door, Tom. The chief superintendent needs a few answers.
I bet. Thought you'd give me the push.
Oh, you're right, I have. Do sit down.
I prefer to stand.
Why did you change the front tyres of a car?
Who says I have?
I do. The tread patterns are now different from the tyre marks you left on Hoggart's Drive on the night of the murder.
Come in.
Bradley statements. Good. No stage on them. Your car was seen then?
The plaster casts we had made conform with the tread patterns of tyres you bought previously 14 months ago from Bell's garage.
Okay, they my own tyre marks, okay.
So why did you change them?
They're incompatible.
Were you driving the car?
Yes?
And you drove in there to pick up the missing cannabis exhibit?
No.
Best to come clean, Tom.
I am clean.
Then what were you doing at Hoggart's? Your timing was unfortunate, to say the least.
Okay, was.
Oh, come on, Tom. You're wasting our time. You know you are.
He wasted mine. Because of his case, mine got blown. Bloody Hoggart's, bloody Lorimer. If that bastard hadn't dragged his feet in the first place, I'd have had that boy for murdering his wife.
I seem to recall at the time you were all for arresting the boyfriend, not the husband. Inspector Doyle, that case is finished. What were you doing at Hoggart's? Just give me a straight answer.
I was with someone.
Who?
A woman.
Well, come on, let's hear about it. Better an embarrassing alibi than none at all.
I'm not embarrassed.
You were with a woman, but you were on duty.
I'd knocked off. I'd been with Sergeant Beale to interview a bloke at Muddington, all part of the Clunch Pit inquiry. I dropped Bill Beale off about 8. After that, I was driving alone, and where I went is my own business.
Not when it's murder, Tom. You wouldn't wear that from a suspect, would you?
As a policeman, you will be one of the few people that Lorimer would let into the building.
Balls! He told me to keep out of his bloody lab. If I'd gone there to kill Lorimer, and I often felt like it, I'd have parked in one of the garages at the back. If the earth was soft enough to register my tyres, it would probably give you footprints too. As it was, all we did was screw in the back.
So what was her neck?
Not yet. This is my story. I'm telling it. I didn't get to Hoggart's till after 9. I knew Lorimer was likely to be working late, but not that late. The lab was in darkness. I picked up this woman at the crossroads just outside Maney. I wanted somewhere secluded. The lab looked as good a place as any.
How long were you there?
Ooh. Half an hour, say, 9:15 to 9:50.
Sir. Did you see anyone go in and out of the building?
I don't know. The windows got steamed up.
Did you tell her who you were?
No. I said I was Alan McDowell.
And what was her name?
She said she was Dora Meakin.
Where does she live? Work?
At the sugar beet factory. And she lived in a cottage, she said, near the ruined engine house on Hunter's Fen. She said she was a widow. I dropped her at the bottom of the lane, leading to Hunter's Fen. That should find her.
It better. Why didn't you take her home?
Would you dirty a police flat chief superintendent with a rural scrubber?
As the investigating officer in charge of this murder, I recommend that Inspector Doyle be suspended from duty pending further inquiries. All right. John?
I'm resigning anyway. Now.
Sit down, Tom. What's your bind, Tom, really?
No old bastards. Like that one.
Jury, please. You superstitious, sir?
No more than most.
Mrs. Meakin! Mrs. Meakin! Probably still at work, sir.
Last. We'll wait. Park the car, will you?
I'm sorry to disturb you, sir, but Mr. Bradley insists on seeing you. He says it's urgent.
Oh, I see. Well, oh, all right, you better show him in. Yes, Mr. Bradley, come in, sit down.
I've come to discuss my position, sir.
Oh, well, it is customary to make an appointment for such an important topic, however. Do sit down. Yes, I understand the police have had your assistance with their inquiries.
I've made a full statement this morning, yes.
Well, obviously they're satisfied or you wouldn't be here. Well, have you come to ask for some leave of absence? That might be advisable. Yes, why not? You take the rest of the week off and until all this is settled. That's no problem.
I'd prefer to get back to work, sir.
Oh, is that really sensible? Mightn't it be uncomfortable for you?
I know I panicked, Dr. Howarth, but I also know I'm innocent.
Oh, yes.
Dr. Lorimer was expecting a visitor. That visitor killed him.
It's not for us to speculate, you know. Let's leave that to the police, shall we? Clearly you've had an anxious time. Come back on Monday.
All right. If that makes you feel more comfortable, sir.
You certainly seem more confident after your brush with the law.
I've told the truth. It's cleared my mind, yes.
Splendid. See you Monday, then.
Mr. McDowell. He's not in any trouble, is he? He was kind. Real gentleman. I wouldn't like to get him into any trouble.
Yes, well, he is in trouble, but not because of you. Now, you can help him best by telling us the truth. What I want to know is, what was the time when you first met him? And how long you were together?
You mean like a sort of alibi?
Yes, that's right.
Well, he picked me up where I usually stand. At the crossroads. About half a mile from Maney. That was about 8:15. Then we went to a pub. They usually start off by buying me a drink. It's the bit I like. Sitting in a pub with somebody, watching the people, listening to their voices and the noise. I usually have a sherry, or a port maybe. If I'm asked, I have a second. I never have more than 2 drinks. Sometimes they're in a hurry to get away, so I don't get asked for more than the 1.
Where did it take him?
Well, I don't know where it was, but it was about 30 minutes' drive. I saw him thinking about where to go before we drove off. That's how I know he lives locally. They like to get clear of the district where they're known. We turned into this drive of this big house and we parked under the trees. Well, I asked him who lived there and he said no one, said it was just government offices. Then he put out the light.
And then you made love in the car?
Yeah.
Mrs. Meakin, can you remember how long you were there?
Oh, yes, because I could see the clock on the dashboard. It was nearly 9:15 when we arrived, and we were there till just before 10. I know, because I was worried, wondering if he'd drop me back at the end of the lane. It's all I expected. I wouldn't have wanted him to come to the door, but it can be a bit awkward if I get sort of dropped miles from home. It's not easy getting back sometimes.
When you drove in, did you notice if there was a woman at the bus stop?
No.
Oh. Did anyone leave the house or come down the drive while you were there? Would you have noticed if they had?
I'd have noticed. There was a street light opposite, and it shone on the drive. I didn't see anyone.
Are you sure you weren't too busy to notice?
Do you think I was enjoying it? Do you think I like it? I'd have noticed.
Thank you, Mrs. Meakin.
Not that door, the back.
What you're doing is very risky, you know that, don't you? Someday a man's going to stop you, wants more than an hour or two of your time. Somebody dangerous.
I do get scared, if that's what you mean. Sometimes, when the car's slowing down and I'm standing on the side of the road wondering what it's going to be like, I can hear me heart. Still, even that's better than being stuck here alone.
It's better to be alone than dead, you know.
Do you think so, sir? But you don't know anything about it.
My God, how depressing. Why doesn't she move away? Go to another town, get another job?
You need energy and hope to change your life. All she can do is keep sane in the only way she knows how.
What for, sir? Trained up as a corpse, dumped in a ditch?
Perhaps that's what she's looking for. Anyway, she'd say that her way at least gives her the consolation of a warm, brightly lit bar. And always the hope the next time it may be different. She's not going to stop because a couple of coppers tell her it's dangerous. Drive carefully, John, will you?
You're going out?
Need to mull over the last chapter. Something's missing. Been meaning to show you this.
What?
Took it from Edwin's desk when I was looking for his will.
You took it? But Star, the police ought to have this. This is probably what Edwin was doing that night, checking up. Star, this is really important. We can't keep this to ourselves.
Well, you'd better go back to your uncle's and pretend to find it, hadn't you?
No, I couldn't. Well, I wouldn't have missed it. They'd never believe me anyway. Star, why did you take it?
Thought I might have a use for it.
What for? Blackmail?
Wasn't thinking. And then it became too late to put it back.
You always think you're very clear about things. You know you are. This letter explains why Edwin was killed.
Oh, rubbish. That's just a gratuitous bit of spite. Edwin's death was simpler. And more complicated than that.
you know?
Because... No, I didn't kill Edwin Lorimer. But I know who did.
Who?
I'd rather not say. I've no proof after all. Are you shocked that I haven't rushed to confide in that subtle detective?
Well, what are you going to do?
Walk. Let the police get on with the job they're paid for.
Star!
Now, I might have more public spirit if they brought back the death penalty. I've no fear of the ghost of hanged men. They can stand in the four corners of my bed and howl all night for all I care. But I couldn't go on living, knowing I'd put another human being in prison for life. No.
Oh, Star, don't go out, please. I'm afraid.
Oh, my darling. There's nothing to worry about. Quite the reverse. Rang my publishers this afternoon. They're going to advance us the money we need to make up the mortgage.
Just like that?
Good books are beginning to sell again, they say. Even art authors, as they call us.